What's going on, NBA fanatics? This is your friendly neighborhood Memphis Grizzlies, home of Memphis X, and I talk hoops. Today, I am talking about a squeaker of a victory in Portland last night to bring the 4-game road trip home at 2-2. But first, every hero needs their theme music.
Piano.
Grizz gang, go hard. Baddest in the game, we be on one. I talk hoops, so secure. All up on the court, but we gon' score. Memphis bringing heat, straight from Tennessee. Demorant spiking Escobar, he that MVP.
The Memphis Grizzlies end the road trip with a 111-106 win over the 5-1 or previously 5-1 Portland Trail Blazers. That moves them to 5-3 on the season with a nice victory, and that moves them to being, as Fast Break Breakfast has said, 3-0 when Ja, Desmond, and Dillon Brooks all play in the same game. And this game has a lot of interesting trends in it, a lot of trends that I really look forward to seeing develop. Number one is the emergence of Desmond Bane as an all-star level player. This is big time for the Grizzlies. And when I say big time, I am talking about as a title threat. Bane is a legit number 2 option on offense. He can carry the team for sometimes a quarter, 2 quarters, and even a whole game with his offensive loan. He was 1 point away from having his 4th 30-point game in a row. This is crazy. He is probably the second best scorer in Grizzlies history, behind only Ja Morant, who also had a good game, 20 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. And you can tell he's still recovering from the flu that he was going through, because he did not have any dunks, I don't think, in this game. And he missed a lot of bunnies that he normally makes. He was able to get to the spots that he wanted, get the shots that he wanted, but he just couldn't get them to fall. And that's why the game was so close. The Grizzlies, with 28 three-point attempts, made 13 of them for almost 46.4%. Dillon Brooks had a very, very good Dillon Brooks game for me. 3 of 7 from the field, 1 of 2 from three-point line, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 2 rebounds, no assists, no turnovers, 9 points. Played some great defense on Anthony Simons in the first half, but kind of got lit up in the second half. But, that happens. Anthony Simons did end up with 31 points. Like I said, Desmond Bane had 29 points, 5 assists, 8 rebounds, 10 of 11 from the free throw line, 5 of 8 from the three-point line. This is crazy. Santi Aldama had a nice little game, 11.7 rebounds on 4 of 8 from the field, 2 of 4 from the three-point line, 1 of 2 from the free throw line. Steven Adams had a Steven Adams type game, 14 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 good blocks in this game. I really liked his blocks. 6 of 9 from the field. Real good game for Steven Adams. Offensively, his defense kind of reminds you of why we need Jaren to close out games, because people are just going to spam pick and roll with Steven Adams. And point guard's going to be able to get to their spots, and anybody who can, with a competent pull-up shot, is going to feast. David Roddy had a good comeback game and played 19 minutes. 3 of 6 from the field, 3 of 6 from three-point line, 10 points, 2 assists, 2 steals, no turnovers. Konchar had a good game, 4 of 6 from the field, 2 of 4 from three-point line, 10 rebounds, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Tyus Jones had a poor shooting game, but he was back on his Tyus Jones thing after the 5-turnover game with 5 assists, 0 turnovers, like that. Brandon Clark, still not really rebounding like he normally does, but he gets some key rebounds. I guess 3 rebounds in 14 minutes isn't bad. Um, 6 points, 3 of 6 from the field. He missed a couple of, alley oops that he normally gets to. One was a bad pass from Ja. Well, both of them were bad pass from Ja. It's just that Brandon Clark usually is able to get to a bad pass. Now, this game was a good reminder of where the Grizzlies are in the pecking order of the NBA. They are currently sitting at fourth, 1.5 games behind the Phoenix Suns, who are 6-1. Half game behind the Portland Trail Blazers at 5-2. Still half game behind the Utah Jazz at 6-3, which lets you know that how bad that sickness was, or the flu was for Ja Morant and the sprained ankle for Desmond Bane and them missing games. They would have been on top of the West probably by now at probably 7-1. But they still have a negative point differential because of that Dallas blowout loss and a couple of blowouts that they had. Well, at the hands of the Utah Jazz, the losses they had at the Utah Jazz. So they're still negative 2.2. And there are currently 7 teams in the West with a positive differential. 7 teams in the Eastern Conference with a positive differential. And, so we're going to see how this goes on. Spurs are 5-3 with a negative, with the second worst differential in the West. So I believe the wagon wheels are going to come off of that. They had the fortunate position of being able to play the Minnesota Timberwolves 3 times so far. And Keldon Johnson was able to feast on Karl Anthony Towns' defense. But like I said, the next game is tomorrow night versus the Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte Hornets, who are currently 3-5. The Grizzlies need to keep taking care of business at home. They're 2-0 on the home court. And they need to keep taking care of business at home. Need to really have a really good record at home, and I'm talking about something at least to the point of like 30 plus, 32, 33 wins at home, something like that. Got to really protect home court because on the road is going to be rough this season in the NBA. Unless you have the opportunity to catch teams slipping. Like the Phoenix Suns, they are 6-1, but 5 of those victories are at home. The Utah Jazz are 6-3. 4 of those victories are at home. The Denver Nuggets are 4-3. 3 of those victories are at home. Milwaukee Bucks 7-0. 6 of those victories at home. Cleveland Cavaliers 6-1. 2 of those victories at home. So you can see that the teams that are really thriving right now are the teams who have had the heavy home records. Believe me, the road is going to be rough for every team in the NBA right now. It would be a great thing to be above 500 on the road at all this season. So we're looking forward to the Grizzlies, and of course, it's November. That means we're one step closer to Jaren Jackson getting back on the court, and one step closer to Zaire Williamson getting back on the court. Zaire Williams getting back on the court. And I am ready to see the Grizzlies at full strength. Hopefully everybody else can stay healthy until those guys get back, and we can start a little win streak of our own to make up for that 2-game losing streak, and we can knock out maybe 3-4 wins. I haven't really looked at the schedule to see what's coming up. The Grizzlies, of course, play Charlotte coming up, like I said, tomorrow. And then after Charlotte, they play the Wizards at home. And then at the second night of a back-to-back, they have the Boston Celtics at home. So that's going to be an interesting game. Like I said, y'all know how I feel. I think the Boston matchup is our worst matchup. And if Jaren's not back, I think they are going to thrive against the Grizzlies. But you never know. Can't wait to see it. Like I said, good week of basketball coming up. We got 2 against the Wizards. We got New Orleans on the 15th, the Timberwolves on the 11th, the Spurs on the 9th. So going to be some interesting games this month. I see the best game probably coming up this month. Well, I don't see any real good games. We got New Orleans twice and the Timberwolves twice. So those are two games that we really need to take care of business in. And hopefully Jaren Jackson can be back for all four of those games. But that is it for tonight. See you guys. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow when we do a preview of that Charlotte game and we look to see what the Charlotte Hornets have been doing.